My parents made a family tree for my niece and crossed me out. It was like I was never a part of the family. I asked, why? My mom said, we didn't want to confuse her, because you don't belong to us. My brother added, it's easier to live if you imagine you don't exist. I couldn't help myself. Fuck you. Keep erasing me from your life. But don't cry when it all falls apart. And walked away. 2 years later, I did something that turned their world upside down. Now they call nonstop. I'm sorry, we're wrong. I honestly don't even know where to begin. I don't usually post on Reddit or anywhere, really, but tonight I'm sitting in my car, parked outside my parents' house, and my hands are still shaking. I feel kind of ridiculous even typing this, but I need to get it out. Maybe just to remind myself that what happened really happened. Maybe to figure out if I'm being dramatic or if they've always been this cold and I just didn't want to see it. Anyway, I guess this is my story. Or at least the part where it finally broke me. So, I'm Nico. I'm 29. The oldest son in what people would probably call a picture-perfect family, at least from the outside. My mom, Marina, and dad, Victor, are the type who host clean, Instagram-worthy holiday dinners and never let the curtains hang crooked. My younger brother Artem is the golden boy. Always has been. Good grades, steady job, photogenic wife, 2 cute kids. The kind of person who can say the most basic thing and still get praised like he solved world hunger. Meanwhile, I've always been something else. The weird one, I guess. Not in some quirky, endearing way. More like the kind of different that makes family conversations awkward. I'm not antisocial or anything. I just never quite clicked with them. Like, I'd show up to Thanksgiving and spend more time helping in the kitchen or entertaining the kids than actually talking to anyone. I don't even get mad about it anymore. It just is what it is. I go to the family events, I keep quiet, I stay out of the way. Low maintenance. Barely visible. That's kind of been my role. But tonight really hit me different. So my niece, Liza, she's 8, had this school project where she had to make a family tree. Poster board, printed photos, names, glue sticks, the whole thing. My mom texted me about a week ago asking if I could come help since I'm good with tech stuff and because, in her words, Liza just gets along with you better than most adults. Which is probably true. I've always talked to her like she's a real person, not just some little kid who's supposed to smile and stay quiet. I like hanging out with her. She's smart and funny and still small enough to be honest. So I said sure. I figured I'd go over, help arrange some photos on the poster, maybe fix the printer or something and call it a night. When I got there, it was the usual scene. Liza was sitting at the dining table with markers and scissors everywhere, working on the poster. My mom was pacing between the living room and kitchen, half distracted with her phone. Dad was in his usual spot on the couch, scrolling endlessly. Artem was at the table too, drinking tea and occasionally glancing at the project like he was supervising. Liza smiled when she saw me. She always does. That alone makes the visit worth it. I sat down next to her and asked what she needed help with. She handed me a USB stick and said she needed help printing some photos. Simple enough. While the printer did its thing, I started looking over the tree. It was actually really cute. Marina had clearly pulled a bunch of photos from everyone's social media pages. At the top were my parents, Grandma Marina, and Grandpa Victor. From there, a branch led to Artem and his wife Tanya. Then another branch went down to Liza and her little brother, Maxim. And that was it. I looked again, thinking maybe I missed something. But no. That was the entire tree. No me. No Uncle Nico. No picture. Not even a mention. At first, I laughed. I actually laughed. I figured it was just a mistake, maybe a photo got left off the print list or Liza hadn't finished yet. I smiled and said, hey, I think you forgot someone. Where do I go? I was expecting them to say, oops, or let's add you now, or even just a joke. But instead, my mom gave me this weird look. Not embarrassed. Not apologetic. Just blank. She said it's simpler this way. Less confusing for her. I blinked. Confusing how? I asked. She knows I'm her uncle. She calls me Uncle Nico. Dad didn't even look up from his phone. Artem took a sip of his tea and said, you're not really around that much, man. It's easier to keep it focused. I felt this weird chill in my chest. Like I was watching myself disappear in real time. I live 20 minutes away, I said. I've picked her up from school. I babysat while you were at that wedding in March. How am I not part of this family tree? My mom sighed like I was being dramatic. It's not personal, Nico. We just wanted to keep it to the core family. The core family? I repeated. Marina started cleaning up the table like that was the end of it. Artem looked at me like I'd said something deeply uncomfortable, like I'd ruined the vibe. Liza, bless her, came over and asked, "Uncle Nico, where should your picture go?" Her little face was so serious. Before I could answer, Marina said, "Don't worry about it, sweetie. We'll explain later." That made something inside me snap. Not explode. Just snap. Quietly. Because it wasn't just about the poster. It was every group chat I'd never been added to. Every time I found out about family plans through a Facebook post. Every "we forgot to tell you" or "we figured you were busy." It was always Artem's birthday parties, Artem's achievements, Artem's kids. I was just background. I kept it together for Liza. I didn't want to scare her. I smiled, nodded, walked to the door. But then I turned around and said, "So I'm not family to you?" Artem shrugged. "You're always doing your own thing. Everyone knows you don't really fit here." Something about that word "fit" just crushed me. Like I was some piece from the wrong puzzle. I stood up. The chair scraped loudly against the wall. I didn't yell. But my voice shook when I said, "You know what? Keep erasing me. Just don't act surprised when your perfect little world falls apart." My mom's face turned red. "Don't talk like that in front of the kids," she snapped. But I was already out the door. I walked halfway down the driveway before I realized I'd left my jacket. I turned around, saw Marina standing in the doorway like she might call after me, but she didn't. I just kept walking. I got in my car and sat there, staring at the dashboard. 10 minutes passed, maybe more. I scrolled on my phone, thought about texting someone, anyone, but didn't. What would I even say? That my own family cut me out of a third grader's art project and it hurt more than anything else they'd done? It sounds stupid when I write it out. But it wasn't just the poster. It was everything. I started remembering every little slight I'd ignored. Every time I was the backup plan. The afterthought. The default tech guy. The one who was only invited if they needed something. The one who didn't fit. And now I wasn't even part of the tree. Just gone. Like I'd never existed. Later that night, I sent my mom a text. "You made your choice. Don't ask me for anything again." She read it. Didn't respond. Artem sent a message the next morning. "Grow up. You're overreacting." I didn't reply. And for the first time in years, I felt clear. Not good. Not happy. Just clear. If they don't want me around, fine. Let's see what life looks like without me in the background. Because this time, I'm not letting it go. I wasn't planning on writing an update. I figured I'd said what I needed to say, gotten it off my chest, and that was that. But the thing is, life doesn't really stop just because you decide you're done. It keeps moving. People keep pushing. And if the last post was the moment I snapped, this one's about what came after. So yeah, after the family tree disaster, I went full no contact. I didn't block anyone because honestly, I didn't want it to look that dramatic. I just stopped replying. No texts, no calls, no showing up for Sunday dinners, no last-minute "can you watch Liza" favors. I thought maybe they'd get the message. That they'd sit with it for a bit and realize, hey, maybe we went too far. Nope. Not even close. About 2 weeks after I walked out, my dad texted me. Just a thumbs up emoji. That was it. No words. No context. Just thumbs up. That's classic Victor, by the way. Emotional constipation disguised as stoicism. Like everything's fine as long as we pretend it is. My mom, Marina, tried calling once. It rang twice and then stopped. She didn't leave a voicemail. That was her version of effort. Artem didn't reach out at all. Not even a passive-aggressive "hope you're doing okay." He just posted one of those cringy "family is everything" quotes on Facebook with a group photo. Everyone tagged but me. Subtle, right? So I stayed silent. I started saying no to everything. No to birthday invites. No to Tanya's texts asking if I could just swing by and take a look at the Wi-Fi. No to the guilt. No to the bait. And that's when things got interesting. See, for years I've been the unofficial IT guy in the family. I set up the Wi-Fi at my parents' house, kept their Netflix and smart TV working, fixed their phones, installed antivirus on their ancient laptops. But also there's this little side hustle they run. I won't get into the specifics, but it's not glamorous. They sell things online, basically. Legal but boring. Guess who built their website? Guess who set up the payment system, email forwarding, order tracking, inventory backend? Yup. Me. Not for money. Not even for thanks. Just the classic "you're good at this stuff, help your family" nonsense. Over the years, I've probably spent more time maintaining their digital life than actually talking to them. So after they erased me from the family tree, I erased myself from their support system. I didn't break anything. I just stopped. Didn't answer when my dad called about his phone not syncing. Didn't respond when the website started throwing up error messages. Didn't jump in when Marina texted, "Why did the payment not go through today?" Left her on read. At first, it was kind of funny. I'll admit it. Watching them fumble around trying to fix things on their own gave me this petty little high. I figured they'd get someone else to step in. Maybe Artem. Maybe a friend. But days passed. Then weeks. The website stayed broken. Emails started bouncing. Orders piled up. Customers got pissed. I know this because, for some reason, they never removed my phone number from the contact page. People were texting me, asking where their packages were. I'd just reply, "Sorry, I'm not involved with this anymore." A few weeks later, Marina called. For real this time. Not a touring bluff. She actually called and left a voicemail. The tone? Less worried mom, more annoyed boss. "We need your help," she said. "The site is down, your dad can't log in, and people are complaining. I don't know why you're ignoring us. This is important." I texted her back. "You said I'm not part of the core family. Ask Artem." No response. Next day, I got a text from Artem. "Seriously? Grow up." Didn't even dignify it with a reply. Then came the wild card, Tanya, his wife. She'd met me on Instagram, totally bypassing text. "I know things are tense, but could you please just fix the site? For Liza's sake? The business pays for her school stuff. Please." I didn't answer. Because let's be real, this wasn't about Liza. This was about control. Fast forward another couple of weeks. I hear from a mutual friend that my parents are telling people I abandoned them. That I left them struggling after everything they did for me. It's hilarious, honestly, because the people they're saying this to, they think I'm the good son. The one who helped out, stayed quiet, played nice. So now my absence isn't just inconvenient, it's exposing them. I get another text from Marina. This one's long. A half apology, half guilt trip. Lots of families should support each other, and we never meant to hurt you. Then the kicker. "It's not too late to fix this. Just help us out." I replied with one line. "You want my help? You can pay me. Like you'd pay any professional." That didn't go over well. She sent back a paragraph about how family doesn't charge family, how I'm being cruel and vindictive and selfish. So I sent her my rates anyway. No reply. Then Artem tried to fix the site himself. How do I know? Because I got an automated alert saying the password had been changed. Then another one a day later saying the account was locked due to suspicious activity. I laughed so hard I had to sit down. I mean, of course he messed it up. He has no idea how any of it works. He once called me in a panic because his screen brightness was stuck. The next day, Tanya actually called me. On the phone. I let it go to voicemail. She was crying. "Artem's losing it. He's so stressed. Please, Nico. You're being childish. We're all suffering because of this. Just help." I didn't call back. Because here's the truth, I spent years picking up after them. Holding the broken pieces together. Doing everything quietly without thanks, just because that's what family does. And now? I was done. Things started breaking down fast after that. Payments stopped going through. Their emails stopped working entirely. I kept getting messages from their customers, people pissed off about late orders, broken tracking links, wrong charges. And again, my number was still listed, so they were calling me. I answered a few, told them the truth, I'm no longer involved. Try contacting the business directly. Liza's school apparently sent home a digital form for a fundraiser and Tanya couldn't access the account. She tried texting me again, said Liza was upset. I still didn't answer. And then it got physical. Artem showed up at my apartment. Uninvited. Unannounced. He was pounding on the door like a debt collector. I opened it a crack because I didn't want to make a scene, but as soon as he saw me, he started yelling. You're destroying our business. You're ruining Liza's life. What the hell is wrong with you? I told him to leave. He shoved the door harder, tried to push in. I stepped in front of him and said, flat out, if you don't leave right now, I'm calling the police. He stared at me for a second, chest heaving, then backed off. You're a selfish piece of shit, he said. Dead to me. I closed the door. Didn't even respond. Next day, I got a long text from Marina about violence in the family and how I needed to reflect on how things were escalating. No mention of Artem showing up and trying to force his way into my home. Classic. I didn't reply. I was done being the backup plan. The ghost. The help desk. Look, I know some of this probably sounds petty. But here's the thing, this isn't about a website. It's not about Wi-Fi or emails or online payments. It's about years of being treated like I didn't matter. Of being the second thought. The spare. The one who always had to adjust, compromise, stay quiet. They erased me from their family tree. I'm just finishing the job. And yeah, I still get messages. Tanya, trying to appeal to my guilt. Marina with emotional blackmail. Victor? Radio silence. Classic. But I'm not bending. Not this time. If they really believed I wasn't family, they're about to see what it actually looks like when I'm not there. No more free tech support. No more last-minute favors. No more fixing messes they never thanked me for making right. This isn't revenge. This is boundaries. And for the first time in my life, I'm actually holding the line. I'll be honest, I didn't think this whole thing would drag on the way it has. I thought maybe they'd finally take the hint, regroup, move on, or at least leave me alone. But if the last few months have shown me anything, it's that people who are used to you always fixing things don't take it well when you finally stop. It didn't all blow up at once. That's the weird part. There wasn't some dramatic implosion. It was more like a slow-motion collapse where everything crumbled little by little until the wreckage was too obvious to ignore. And the entire time I stayed out of it. I didn't interfere. I didn't check in. I just watched it unfold like a show I used to care about, but now I'm just hate-watching for the ending. So first thing I noticed, radio silence. Usually, even when we're fighting, my mom will send those weird check-in texts like, hope you're eating well, or don't forget your vitamins, the kind that are more about control than care. But this time? Nothing. Not a single message. A full month passed. No contact. At first, it was jarring. Then it started to feel like relief. Like I could finally breathe. But, of course, silence doesn't last forever. It started with weird calls from unknown numbers. Ones I didn't recognize. Then a message from my cousin Dima, who I barely talked to. Hey, just a heads up, your mom's been asking if I know someone who can reset a website. You okay? Apparently, she was reaching out to anyone remotely techie in the extended family, hoping someone could do what I used to handle with one hand while half asleep. Dima's useless with that stuff, so he told her to call a professional. She didn't. She just kept circling, trying to find someone who could fill my spot. Then came the gossip. An old high school friend messaged me out of the blue, someone I haven't seen since graduation. Dude, ran into your dad at some neighborhood barbecue. He was going off about how kids these days have no loyalty and how their business is getting sabotaged. What happened? I just replied. Long story. Not my circus anymore. Because let's be honest, Victor's always had this way of making his problems someone else's fault. The man could trip over his own shoelaces and blame the sidewalk for not being smooth enough. The first real oh shit moment came about 2 months in. Marina called me. And this time she didn't waste time with pleasantries. She jumped straight into it. We've been getting calls from the bank. Late notices. Threats. Did you do something to the business accounts? I almost laughed. I told her plainly I haven't touched anything. I just stopped babysitting your systems. You told me I wasn't family, remember? There was silence on the other end. For once, she didn't have a comeback. Then she shifted gears. Well, can you at least talk to Artem? He's overwhelmed. I said no. She hung up. Right after that, Artem started texting again. Same tired script. You're ruining everything. You need to fix what you broke. Only I didn't break anything. I just refused to carry the weight they'd been piling on me for years. And now that it's finally falling apart, they're scrambling. I heard from a mutual friend that they refinanced the house a while back to keep the business afloat. Marina apparently bragged about it, called it a risk for the future. They thought they had it all under control. They didn't. They just assumed I'd keep being the safety net. That I'd keep patching holes in the ship while they sailed on like nothing was wrong. Not this time. Then came the most shameless move yet. Tanya showed up at my apartment. With Liza. I opened the door and saw them standing there, Liza holding one of her drawings, the kind where everyone's got smiley stick faces and giant hands. She handed it to me and said, I drew us at the park. My stomach dropped. Behind her, Tanya looked like she hadn't slept in days. She didn't even try to hide her desperation. Please, Nico. Just help us get the payments working again. We're months behind. Liza's scared we'll have to move. Just make a few calls. That's all I'm asking. And yeah, that hit me. I won't lie. But I looked at Liza, then at Tanya, and said, I'm not the one who made it this way. Tanya started crying. Full on, right there in the hallway. Not even quietly. You're turning your back on your family. I didn't say anything. I just closed the door. A few seconds later, Liza kicked it. It thudded once, then silence. That stung more than I want to admit. But I still didn't open it. After that, things got aggressive. Artem left a voicemail one night that was so unhinged I had to play it back twice. You selfish piece of shit. If you don't fix this, I swear I'll tell everyone what kind of trash you really are. You're nothing without us. Cool. Couple days later, I ran into him at the grocery store. He saw me near the self-checkout and of course, he couldn't just walk past. He bumped my cart on purpose. Then started yelling. Loud. You're destroying the family. You're a goddamn parasite. People stopped and stared. It was one of those moments where everything slows down and you're suddenly very aware of your breathing. I calmly told him to leave me alone. When he wouldn't, I pushed his cart out of my space and walked away. He slapped my hand and shouted, "You're dead to me." Didn't even flinch. Just left. Next week, I got a group text from Marina. Me, Victor, Artem, Tanya. First one in forever. It said, "Please. We need help. The bank's calling every day. We're drowning. This is serious." I replied, "You made your choice. Deal with it." Victor followed up with a voicemail. First time I've heard his voice in months. He threatened legal action. I actually laughed. Out loud. Played it for a friend. Victor doesn't even know how his own email works, let alone enough about their setup to sue me over anything. They wouldn't even have a business to sue over if it weren't for me. Around this time, word started spreading through their little community circles. Parents from Tanya's school group, people at church, neighbors, everyone who used to see them as the tight-knit family. Now they were getting asked awkward questions like, "Why hasn't your site been working? What happened to the fundraiser link? Where's Nico been?" Marina stopped posting family photos. No more updates. No more "look at Liza's latest drawing" posts. Silence. Like the house lights went out. People were starting to connect the dots. One afternoon, I went back to my parents' place. Just to grab some boxes of old stuff they kept in the garage. I hadn't been there in months, but I found out they were giving away things without asking. Figured I better get what's mine. When I pulled up, Victor was out front. Pacing, yelling into his phone. Something about not being able to keep this up and how he's not a bad person. He saw me. Went quiet. Just glared. Didn't say a word. I walked past him, grabbed my boxes, and left. Marina tried to stop me on the way out. She actually grabbed my arm and started crying. "You're breaking my heart," she said. I looked her in the eye and said, "You broke mine first." She slapped me. Full on, right across the face. I didn't react. Just walked away. After that, it felt like something shifted. Like they realized, finally, that this wasn't just a tantrum. That I wasn't coming back. That I wasn't the duct tape they could slap on their collapsing lives. I started getting messages from people I barely knew. Old friends of the family. Distant cousins. Even one of Marina's church friends. "Hey, your mom's really upset. What's going on? Why is Artem saying you're having some kind of crisis? Is everything okay?" I answered honestly. I used to help them because I thought that's what family did. Then they made it clear I'm not family. So now I'm out. Some people took my side. Others didn't. That's life. Then came the final blow. Through a mutual friend, I found out they'd tried to get a loan to cover their business problems. Got denied. Too many missed payments. Credit shot. They were banking on a quick recovery. On me swooping in at the last minute like always. Only this time, the cavalry never came. Artem apparently made one last attempt to recover their site. Locked himself out of the admin account entirely. Customer database, gone. Order history, gone. Backup access, gone. I got a system notification that someone had tried to brute force the login. I turned off alerts after that. Tanya posted one of those vague emotional rants on Facebook. Something about betrayal and people who turn their backs when things get hard. No names, but everyone knew exactly who she meant. And you know what? I thought I'd feel bad. I thought I'd regret it. But I didn't. Not even a little. Not after how they treated me. Not after years of being the spare part. The background noise. The person who only mattered when something needed fixing. They said I didn't belong. Now they get to live in a world where I don't. A few months ago, if someone had told me my mom would be calling me at 3 a.m. in tears or that my brother would show up at my door begging, I probably would have laughed. Not because I wanted that to happen, but because I never thought they'd reach that point. And yet, here we are. It started with calls in the middle of the night, one after another. Voicemails, emails with subject lines like "urgent, please." I didn't pick up. I didn't open them. The next day, my cousin texted me from church. "Your mom cried during prayer. Told people you abandoned them. Said they're losing the house." Of course, she didn't mention how they erased me. How they told me I wasn't part of the core family. The guilt campaign ramped up fast. Calls from people I barely know. Distant relatives. Friends of the family. All saying the same thing. Can't you just talk to your mom? Your brother's a mess. Liza misses you. Even Tanya's mom called. Told me Liza didn't understand what was happening. Said she was scared. I said nothing. Not out of cruelty, but because I finally understood the pattern. They weren't sorry for what they did. They were sorry they were losing their free safety net. A few weeks later, Artem sent me a photo of Liza holding one of her old drawings of the two of us at the park. She looked sad. Under the picture, he wrote, "She misses you. Please help us. We'll do anything." I almost replied. Almost. Instead, I sent one line. "You made your bed. Now lie in it." He exploded. 10 texts in a row. Accusing me of being heartless, saying I was punishing a child that family forgives. Then came Tanya. Called me sobbing. Said the business was dead. They might have to move in with her parents. I told her calmly, "You said I wasn't family when it was convenient. So now I'm not." She hung up. They tried everything. Marina even mailed me a handwritten letter, pages of apologies, begging, promises to pay me if I just came back and fixed things. I left it unopened for a week. Then I threw it away. Victor, who hadn't contacted me in ages, finally sent a message. "We were wrong. Please come home." I didn't respond. Because there's no home when you've spent your whole life being treated like a guest in it. Their world started to crumble and people noticed. Their little community, neighbors, church folks, business contacts started asking questions. And as the truth came out, support dried up. No more perfect family posts. No more bragging about their business. No more "look how great Artem is" photos. Silence. I started hearing from neutral family friends. "They're in a bad way." I'd just reply. They made their choice. Then Artem showed up at my apartment. Again. Middle of the night. Banging on the door. This time he wasn't angry. He was crying. "Please. You're my brother. I'm sorry. We need you." I looked him in the eyes and said, "You said I didn't belong. Now you get to find out what life looks like without me." He tried to push past me. I blocked the door and shoved him back. He left without another word. After that, I stopped even checking the new voicemails. I'd hear the beeps and just delete them. Same with the emails. The DMs. All of it. I wasn't angry anymore. Just done. And no, I don't feel guilty. Because you don't get to tell someone they're not part of the family and then act shocked when they finally believe you. As for Liza, she's the only one I still think about. She didn't choose any of this. But I'm not her father. I'm not the one who should be shielding her from the fallout of her parents' decisions. They can explain to her why things are the way they are. Not me. Yeah? I wake up without anxiety. I don't flinch when my phone buzzes. I don't feel the familiar weight of waiting to be needed only to be forgotten again. I just live. And it feels good. If you're the black sheep in your family, the one who's always fixing things, always giving, always last on the list, here's what I'll tell you. You don't have to stay. You don't have to keep proving your worth to people who refuse to see it. You can walk away and you can stay gone. They told me I didn't belong. Now I don't. And for once, that's exactly the way I want it.